Okay, so let's do a check-in on the person that is on your mind at this time. How are they feeling? How's your person feeling? Okay. We have two sevens popping out together. Not good. They're feeling very heavy. We have two F words, probably a few more F words if you know what I mean. Failure, futility. Keep going with it. We also have temperance popping out along with it. It's all about extremes and balancing those. This person is trying to balance their feelings at this time. They're feeling very extreme. This person could be a Sagittarius with the Temperance card. It could just mean balancing extremes, which is red and blue in a color scheme. Those are the two ends of the spectrum, which are opposites, right? It's about balancing the good and the bad, being creative with what comes to you, alchemizing with whatever comes to you. I saw 101 on the clock when I looked up. Failure, futility. We have the Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. This person feels small. This person feels overwhelmed at this time. Not good energy, but they're learning how to balance out what the dissonance that's happening, I want to say. They are swimming in the quantum soup at this time. I don't know why I needed to say that. Sagittarius energy is all about just that. In the zodiac wheel, Sagittarius comes after Scorpio, which is a very intense sign, Scorpio. So the next step in progressing with your soul is going into Sagittarius, where now it's time to play. Now it's time to actually don't be so serious, right? Scorpios are generally a little bit more serious because they're so intense. Not to say that they can't have fun and be happy and go lucky, not at all, but they're very intense beings. They are going through, a very transformative state in their soul progress. So once you go into the Sagittarian state, they are playful, they are jubilant, they like to play, and they like to explore. So now it's time to look at where you are, or this person is. They're looking at themselves and being like, something is not working here. They might feel like that with you. They might feel like you are this big scary snake looking at them and judging them. I don't know. They just feel like they're overwhelmed and they have too much to juggle. They have a lot of things that they're juggling that are up in the air, and you see how this person is looking down with their posture. They're kind of slumped over. They're tired, they're overwhelmed. So this person feels overwhelmed in the connection, or they might just be overwhelmed in general with their life, and it is showing in their relationships because they don't have any bandwidth, right? I don't know if you've ever been in a state where you've overworked yourself. We all get to a phase in life where we have the opportunity to work, and then we take all the opportunities, we burn ourselves out, right? We the saying goes, we burn the candle from both sides. And eventually, since we're all human and we're not robotic, and we need to sleep and rest, and also have that yin energy of resting, going inward, like relaxing for a second. We need that. It's not a luxury, right? We have to rejuvenate our bodies on a constant basis, like we change the oil in our cars, right? Think of your body like a car. Like, you need to keep it in tip top shape in order to function properly, because eventually, if you keep driving a car that you don't change the oil in. I did that when I got my first car. No one told me to change the oil. I didn't know it, and I ran it into the ground. It literally just stopped on the highway one day, and that was it. So this person is starting to feel like that. They might be tricky themselves. And this is the thing, if someone is a trickster, if someone lies and is deceitful and manipulative towards others, eventually it comes back around, because this is the thing with liars. Liars have to keep on top of their lies, right? If you live, I saw 444 on the clock. If you live in a state of truth, you don't have the stress of remembering everything you said. Like, of course you can remember what you say and all that stuff, but you're not stressed out about it, because whatever you did, whatever you said was the truth. You can rehash it and move on. A liar has to remember every little lie that they said in every little situation to every single person and remember all their lies. So usually these liars will stay up at night ruminating for hours, just going over their little schemes with people. It's like playing chess with many people at the same time. You know, you got to remember your moves. You got to remember what you said, what you didn't say, because one little slip up of a lie, someone will catch you if they're keen enough, and game over. This person might be like that, but again, karma comes back to bite you in the you know what. So again, if you are putting out that bad energy and deceiving people and lying left and right, like you think it doesn't have any negative repercussions for you, think again, because it's going to come back. It might clap back at you. That's what I'm getting from this. So that's an interesting start to this how is your person feeling read. Let's see what else. How's your person feeling? Sacrifice. Love may come with a sacrifice. Evaluate what you're willing to give up. This person feels that love is a sacrifice. They don't look at love in a very healthy way. Um, this is what I believe is the problem in the modern dating world. Yes, we have a lot of problems with a lot of different things of why everyone's point of view is kind of skewed, with love and relationship. But if you look at love like it's a sacrifice, like you have to give up a part of your soul in order to get love, that is not love. It's not love. It's a mistake. Like they're looking at love in a way where they have to give up themselves in order to be in love with someone. um, they don't have a very healthy outlook when it comes to relationships. um, there's certain types of people that get into relationships. It's a very small percentage, in my opinion, that actually they both come from a perspective of a very healthy way of looking at how relationships help one another. Relationships are hard. They're meant to be hard. that's that's the thing that people don't realize, is that when we get into relationships, they're going to challenge us on purpose. We're here to mirror each other. We're here to help each other grow, and you can't do that alone. You can grow and have a lot of introspection, but it gets to a point, if you really want to master and level up in life, it's through other people, it's through relationships, it's through someone else looking at you and seeing something that you might not be looking at, or you might be purposely overlooking. Someone's going to call you out on your BS, basically, right? It's not to fight with you. It's not to make you sacrifice what you're doing. It's actually to help you improve. So if two people come into a relationship and look at the relationship like, let's improve each other. I love you. I love where you're going. I love where you're right now. And I love your whole persona, how you think. I'm willing to commit to you, right? And if two people come into that relationship knowing that they're there to help improve each other, and they're a team, they're not against each other playing tennis, they're on the same team. So if someone's like, hey, I see that you're, I don't know, you're overeating or whatever it is that they see, it's not coming from a place of judgment or sacrifice or fighting. It's saying, I love you. I see that you might be suffering, that you might not even see this. I'm just coming because I'm concerned. I actually care about your well-being, you know? So it's not about criticism or judgment or sacrifice or giving up parts. It's about being like, hey, like, I don't want to see you suffer. This might be something that you might not be looking at. I want to show you that maybe you can improve here, and vice versa. It's not one-sided, right? And that's what a real, true, successful relationship will look like. This person doesn't see it that way. They might not have experienced it, but again, it doesn't matter if you've experienced it yet or not. You have to first believe it yourself. You have to first think of things that way, because then eventually you'll attract someone, or you'll be attracted to someone with the same healthy mindset, right? But if this person is looking at love like it's a sacrifice, like it's like this big doom and gloom, like, oh God, here's the ball and chain, like, yeah, good luck in life. No one's gonna want to be with you either. So this person has a very negative mindset at this time. What else? We got around fall. Something might have happened around fall. This person might be feeling like they're falling they're failing, or they're just in a phase of life where they're just letting go. There's a lot of triggers when it comes to love. Of course, we're all hurt little children inside. Of course, we've all probably had something really bad happen to us when we're children. It is not an excuse to perpetuate the problem. It is not an excuse to perpetuate any kind of personality disorder. It's not an excuse to treat other people in a way that hurts other people because you have an excuse. Well, someone hurt me in the past, so I'm allowed to hurt other people now. No, no. So this person is using their past as an excuse to not progress forward in a relationship because they just expect every relationship, every person to be the same, which also you're doing it to yourself. You're hurting yourself, you're hurting your own perspective by thinking this. And by thinking this, truly, you're actually creating more of that in real life. So love is a feeling when it's real love. You know, you're going to feel vulnerable, you're going to feel naked, you're going to feel emotionally naked, you're going to feel triggered. You're going to feel triggered. And that's part of the process of growing. Again, you're going to be triggered by the other person. You're going to have disagreements, and that is the place where you both grow up. That's where you grow and become successful in a relationship. That's become, you know, you become friends, you become confidants, you become lovers, you become support systems. It's healthy, and that doesn't mean that everything's la-di-da. You're going to argue, but it's how you argue. It's how you get through I can't, problems that really progresses you forward. Can you talk through it without raising your voice or getting triggered? Or even if you do get triggered, you can remain emotionally calm enough to be like, okay, you're witnessing your body's reaction. You're not your body's reactions, if that makes sense. You're the witness behind your soul. So when you look at yourself and you're like, wow, my body is triggered right now, I'm starting to get really angry, I'm flustered, my heart's pumping, or I feel hot, whatever happens when you get triggered by something emotional. If you can step back and just witness your body getting that way, right, almost like an alarm clock, like your body is the alarm clock and it's going off, right? You can look at the alarm clock in your mind's eye and be like, okay, well, my body is reacting this way. I'm definitely triggered by something that this person said or did. Instead of reacting automatically and just considering it a wash, because we're all going to be triggered. Like, keep running away from your triggers. See what happens. It's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. So once you can witness that and be like, I am triggered right now, once you can actually describe your feelings, that's the first step of growing, becoming emotionally mature. Then it's like, what do I do with this now? Okay, so my body's giving me a sign that something's up, something hit a chord. Now what? Now let's investigate that. Maybe you investigate that internally without saying anything out loud. If you trust your partner, which is a healthy partnership, if you could trust their point of view, even when you don't agree, that's the kicker here. If you can trust your partner and you have that relationship where you're each other's support systems without judgment and fighting, you can say, hey, this triggered me because blah, blah, blah. And you can talk through it with each other, and maybe you can help soothe each other, because ultimately in relationships, that's what we really want. We want to be soothed by the other partner, especially when we are triggered. We are all hurt little children. We all have childhood wounds. And in order to grow and heal one another through relationship, the other person will heal you and not react the way that you're used to, right? That's what stops PTSD. That's what stops emotional triggers, when you think that this person's going to react a certain way and then your partner just hugs you and says, okay, or let's investigate this more, or let's figure this out together, or how can I help, appease this where it doesn't happen again. And it comes from a place of emotional softness and security, safety, openness, non-judgmental behaviors behind, between the two of you. That's where you grow. You help one another, so you're allowed to be vulnerable with one another. They're not used to doing this at all. Basically, to rope it back into here, they're not used to doing this at all. They've never tried it, they've never experienced it, and they don't even think it exists. That's what this person is kind of in. That's the stage that they're in. So, can one person convince another person? Can you convince this person that there's other ways to live, that there's other ways to think about things? No. Can you lead by example? Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you have to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't get it. Because again, when you put yourself in that martyrdom position, you're going to get hurt. You know, you're going to get hurt trying to convince someone that there's another way or trying to open their mind. If they're not willing to step into the future, if they're not willing to step into their own thought process and grow internally, intellectually, through meditation, through inner work, through investigating without judgment, through opening up and not just getting like triggered and having these reactions without thinking anymore. Like you have to stop the progression yourself. If this person doesn't want that, you can't force someone, you can't open their mind, you can't change anyone. So that's kind of what I'm getting right now. So let's see what else pops out. Natural instincts, you know which way to fly. Again, like this person might just be going on their instincts with what they're used to, and their instincts might not be the most healthy. Unfortunately, no matter if they're a good person or they're, you know, like it's not about being a good person or not at this point. It's about this person is so stuck in their ways that it's up to them if they want to change. You can't change this person. You can't show them the way or show them that there's another way. This person has to be able to come to you and say, you know what, I don't know what to do, but I want to do something. You know, they have to show their intent with wanting to change. They're kind of at that breaking point. I feel like they feel like a failure. They feel like everything that they've been doing in the past is not working. So at least they're aware that something isn't working, but are they willing to be open minded? Right? Are they willing to be open minded? That's the thing here. That's what I'm trying to like figure out with this person. Like, what are they going to do about it, if anything? Right? Are they going to do anything? So let's see. We got the Fool. Starting over, that's not a bad sign. They're willing to be the Fool, which is the first card in the tarot deck. It's about starting over and having some optimism with starting over. You know, you have to be brave to start over. You have to have that a little bit of optimism to just be like, you know what? Let me just let me be a fool. Let me feel foolish. Maybe this person feels foolish because they know that there's something wrong. They know that it's not working or it hasn't been working, but they don't know what to do and they're afraid to say it. Pride, right? We have the Ace of Pentacles coming out. Again, starting over, planting a new seed. Um, I think they want this. I think they actually want a new chance. They want to, but they just don't know what to say, how to go about it, what's the first step because they've never been through it. We have the Knight of Swords coming out. So this person kind of is trying to run towards something new, right? But I think this person has an idea, or that at least maybe they have a recent epiphany about this, and meaning that, you know, you're like, you know what? I know something's wrong. This is always failing for me. What is happening? They're learning how to balance these extremes and be like, okay, maybe I'm the one being triggered. It's not about the trigger itself. It's about what do I do with it now? What do I say? Do I say anything? The Knight of Swords does say things, right? So maybe this person has something that they've recently figured out and they kind of want to express it to you. They do want a new chance here. That's what I'm getting. They want to start over. The Queen of Cups, water energy, Scorpio energy, and the Nine of Wands, fire energy, Sagittarius energy again. Again, with the extremes of water and fire, Temperance is about red and blue energy, water and fire. The Queen of Cups and the Knight of Wands is about water and fire. They feel like you might clash with each other, but at the same time, it works because of the clash, because you're so different, because of the yin and yang energy. It's how you treat it, right? It's about how you go about using your opposites. You can use that and be extremely powerful because when the yin and yang connect, it's a full circle, right? Or you can make it clash where it just constantly, if there's too much fire, it puts out, it dissipates water. And if there's too much water, it just puts out the fire, right? It has to be an equal balance. And that's what the Temperance card is about. Um, what else? Two of Pentacles. They're thinking, they're kind of juggling again with the opposite energy, the yin and yang. And the Page of Swords. Again, they're curious, and they have been thinking about this. This person isn't being ignorant, at least, so that's good. They're not ignorant over the fact of what's happening, but are they doing anything? There's a lot of thinking. They definitely have some new thoughts that they are going along with. They know that there has to be some sort of change, of some sort of new opportunity here with you two. They are thinking a lot and juggling the wheel. Their emotions might be up and down. They might be manic depressive. They might have some sort of emotional issues, let's say. We all have issues, so there's no judgment here. It's just like this person has a lot of issues juggling their emotions. It kind of goes in waves, like manic depression. Sometimes this person could be manic, where they're highly energized, happy, out there, excitable, optimistic. And then they have the depression part where they're pissed. They're depressed, they're sad, they're low energy, right? And someone with that kind of issue, they can't regulate themselves because it's one extreme and another extreme. They might be there's probably something here emotionally where they have not been able to work through yet, because their body and their mind are so up and down. It's extreme emotions and extreme pullback, extreme emotions and extreme pullback, and they can't find that middle ground. It's hard. It's not easy. What else? We got the Chariot. It looks like someone wants to kind of say something to you, like they have this new idea, they have this new epiphany about it, the situation, and they're willing to at least try something new. We have the Ten of Cups. This person does want that. Who doesn't? I mean, like, you must be a monster if you don't want it, if you don't want love, in any kind of form. Sometimes people that are more promiscuous, it's not because they don't like love, it's because they're afraid of it. They're afraid of being triggered, they're afraid of being vulnerable, they're afraid of being hurt. So instead, they just have these very surface level relationships because they try to work around the heartache by not putting their heart in it at all. It's That doesn't mean deep down inside that they don't want an actual connection, right? So I think this person's coming to terms with themselves and knowing that no one's perfect, knowing that maybe their instincts have led them astray, because when you're stuck in a loop, an emotional loop or a cycle where you know that it keeps failing and failing and failing, and you're just like, what is going on? Why is this always failing for me? Maybe I'm part of the problem. Everyone's part of the problem. It's not one person or the other, So instead of pointing your finger at other people, maybe they're starting to realize that they also have these extremes that they're trying to regulate, but they know this and they want to come towards you and say something about it. They want to try again, they want some kind of new opportunity with you. They want to start over. They know that there's some sort of extremes happening. There's definitely some two extremes happening with them, and they don't know which way to go, and it's dysregulating them. But whatever the case is, they know that it's failing them. So at the end of the day, we have the Ten of Cups here saying that they are trying to go towards it, but there's a lot of workaround that they have to get through, right? they're afraid, but you have to be willing to be afraid going forward. And you have to vet whoever you choose to do this with wisely. You can't just be vulnerable with every single person that you meet, because again, you can be hurt. You're putting your heart on a butcher's block and being like, here, I'm vulnerable, do it as you wish. So you have to pick and choose who you become vulnerable with, because certain people don't deserve your heart. Some certain people don't deserve to, or aren't capable of treating you kindly, especially when you're coming from a place of hurt, right? You want someone that's emotionally available, someone that's loving, someone that's intuitive, someone that will treat you kindly when you are vulnerable, that with general respect. This person might have a hard time speaking, because I have a hard time speaking right now. I can't pronounce words for some reason. There might be some sort of thing with that, or that there's just a lot of language barriers. They don't know what to say, they don't know how to say it. They might have a problem. There might be a language barrier. But whatever the case is, I think this person is willing to admit that they at least what they've been doing in the past is not working. And then it's up to you and him if you want to go into this route. If they're willing, if they show you that they're willing to move forward and be actually responsible and mature, it's up to you to decide if you want to go down that route with them. But it looks like they're trying to like restart the engine here, and at least admit that they're looking for this, the Ten of Cups, right? That they're working through their own issues, that they're working through their own triggers, that they're working through their own extremes with their own emotions. And maybe they tell you about this, maybe they explain at least what they're working towards. That does not mean that it's going to be successful automatically. But if you want to support this person, just remember that you might get hurt in the meantime when they're learning, because they might still hurt you until they learn the steps themselves. But again, if you love each other and you're willing to support each other without judgment and truly respect one another, then that's up to you.